Welcome to CPOD, Rock with your boys. That's how I'm rolling. That's how I'm starting this episode.
Is this actually... Oh, right, okay. Brilliant. Okay. Fantastic.
Press enter to begin. Good evening and welcome to another episode of CPOD. I am your host Dorian, and joined with me today is, as always, our good man Els Bells.
Hello. That was very festive, Els Bells. I like that.
Els Bells. I just went with it. I wasn't thinking, and it's the first thing that came out. And you know what? It worked. So I'm happy with that.
Rolling with it.
Nice, happy little accident. How have we been, bud?
Good, mate. Yeah, good, thank you. Busy but good. How about you?
Pretty much the same. Work. It's getting to that time of year where everyone is just under pressure at work. Deadlines, spreadsheets, Secret Santa. Although I did get a very cool Secret Santa because I've got someone who I won't mention in case they listen to this. They probably don't, but just in case, I'm very happy with the person that I've got because we grew up in a very similar sort of age. So I'm like, okay, I've got a good idea of what to get them for nostalgia's sake. So,
this is before electricity.
Secret Santa's been good to me this year. It was. I've got them a penny farthing. That's what I've got.
Again. Jeez.
So, speaking of in the last week, have you been playing anything new?
I wouldn't say new, but not to go straight into a tangent within the first couple of minutes.
Oh.
So my wife Lauren was talking. You'll get used to that. Was talking about playing No Man's Sky again. So I got No Man's Sky on the ROG Ally X, the Xbox One, with a bit over that, and we're so hooked. Honestly, I think from Friday night to Sunday night, as it is now, I think we've put in about 16 hours, which might give you an idea.
That's insane. Yeah.
As to how much we've fallen back into it. It's brilliant, phenomenal. We usually play Satisfactory on a Sunday, and it's just completely taken over our weekend. So yeah, No Man's Sky. I've usually been in Spice, mining platinum and all sorts. How about yourself?
He who controls the spice controls the world, or is it the universe? But yeah, I did. I do have a copy of No Man's Sky. I had it on PS4, and then I installed it on my PS5 when I got that. And I have tried multiple times to try and get into it, but it's just too big. It's a little bit like Minecraft in the sense that you've borderline. You can do anything. Yet there is a form of there is some kind of underlying objective that you do have to seek, but at the same time there's so many side quests going on at the same time. You could be pulled in any direction, and you don't necessarily have to do any of it if you don't want to. Every time I start that game up and try to play it, I learn a little bit more, and then I go, right, I have no idea what to do next. I think the last thing that I was doing is I was trying to find, it was still relatively early on in the game, and I was trying to find this person who's been sending me these messages who apparently thought that my character was dead. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll try and hunt this person down and find... Yeah, that guy. And I go to these outposts on different planets where I'm trying to learn different languages across different species, and the next thing I know, I'm up in space and I think, oh, what's this giant freighter thing? And the people have turned around and said, oh, we need your help with this mission. So I helped them, and we said, great, you can buy my freighter. I was like, I've got a freighter now? What am I supposed to do with this? I've just got used to the one small spaceship that I've been flying around for the past 8 hours, and I still feel I don't feel like I've got anywhere. So it's
Did you actually put in about 8 hours?
It must be something close to about
quantify
20 or 30. I reckon that's how much time I've put into it.
Wow.
But there's so much to do. It just feels, it's mad. It's absolutely mad.
It has changed an awful lot. I mean, I think it's one of the rare games which has gone from zero to hero. You know, when that game came out, I think we both might have bought it on release. It was shocking. It was so bad. And they've just update after update after update, all for free as well. The game that it is now is, you couldn't recognise it from the game that was released. I mean, one of the things that I've been doing, so you get about 8 hours in, you get this like distress signal, sort of signal booster thing you can put down, and then it'll find things like that are in your sort of local area. So I put that down and then pray and hope that I can get a distress signal, which takes me to like a down ship, and you can repair it and then have that ship. Or if it's something that I didn't want, you can sort of claim it, go back to one of the main space stations, and then sell it and salvage it for parts. So it kind of, that really gets me in the gameplay loop, and then you do your base up, and that's how it kind of. You can kind of explore all of the exploration bits, your base building and all the sort of usual stuff, like you say, sort of the Minecraft elements. And then as soon as you start to get a bit bored of that, you can then dip into one of the quest lines. But yeah, there's not really one main quest line per se. It's kind of up to you how you play it.
I think that's the daunting thing about it, because in Minecraft, the idea is build. All right, and that's pretty much it. Whereas, there's something a little bit about No Man's Sky that just seems a bit more than that.
I'd love for you to join us. It's complete crossplay. So sometimes I might play at Xbox on the Series X on the TV. At the minute, I've actually got the Xbox ROG Ally X all hooked up to the monitor with all the kits through another dock, so it's just essentially just emulating a PC. But yeah, you can play it anywhere, pretty much anything. I mean, it even plays on. It is on the Switch 1. I don't recommend it. It's on the Switch 2. I still don't really recommend it. It does play on the Switch 2, but it's even a bit rough on there. But hey, if you wanted to join us, I'd quite happily sort of talk you through some of the bits we've been doing. I think it's you find what's interesting for you. You know, it's one of those. Good game.
Yeah.
What have you been playing?
I don't know. I've been a bit loose with my gaming over the past week. I've still got a couple of actually, no. I have been playing Death Stranding a little bit more, but I didn't realise how close I was to the end of the game, because the PS5's got this neat little feature now where it tells you your percentage throughout the game, which I find is a little bit of a spoiler borderline, because it's like the PS5 going, oh, you're nearly finished with this, by the way. And you go, oh, what really?
I wouldn't like that. No, I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah, I'm not too keen, but it's made me realise, I've actually still got a lot of side missions left to do. So I've been trying to grind through those a little bit to get some more tech before I go to whatever the main last boss is. But also, normally I tend to stick to the console is designed for when I'm playing a game. So I play my PS1 games on my PS1, my PS2 games on my PS2, vice versa. But my PS4's actually still packed away. So I've got Spyro the Dragon out and installed that on my PS5, and my son absolutely loves it. He keeps pointing at the purple dragon, running around, breathing fire. Can he fly, Daddy? Kinda. What does that do? That's a big golden dragon. Should we go get him? Yeah. All right, let's go get him. And he's fascinated by it. And in the same kind of way that I remember being fascinated by it when it came out when I was a kid on PlayStation 1, it's really nice to see those memories flare up again in someone else, in someone new. So me and my son...
I've got to...
go ahead, sorry.
I've got to jump in on part of that, please. I've just got to say that was the first game that I ever owned. That was the first game that
really?
My first game I ever owned was Spyro the Dragon. So it's amazing hearing you and your son playing that.
Yeah, it's he loves it. He thinks it's great. It's a surprisingly difficult difficulty curve, because for the first 3 worlds, it's jump around, collect your coins, grab that egg, collect all the dragons. Would you like to go to the next world? Yes, okay, and that's that. It's fine up until the point where you get to the speed ramps, and they turn around and say, right, once you've come off your speed ramp, glide while still at speed and go around the entire level to try and get through this one window that's only breakable by doing this, and this is the only way that you can complete this level and get this treasure. And I'm like going, how am I supposed to do that?
Not just
so
that.
The learning curve's absolutely mental on that game.
You've also got...
I started doing that unconsciously to know it in Aldi months ago, and he started copying me. So there must be other parents just quietly trying to grab bread from a shelf, and somewhere in the distance in Aldi they can just see it. And going, what is that?
Just the thought of someone in a purple robe holding a loaf of white bread going, no. It's brilliant. Yeah, I mean,
Well, at the price of eggs these days, it's the only way I can grab some.
I mean, I obviously I've not got many PlayStation 5 Platinums to my name, but Spyro the Dragon is one of them.
Is it?
To platinum the first one. I've tried to play number 2 in the series about 4 times, and actually really recently as well. I just can't get into it. They made what felt like kind of raw PS1 Spyro, and then 2 felt like rip-off Disney. Felt like, Team U AliExpress Spyro. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong of me. I've not tried the third one either.
See, I've played quite a bit of the second one. I've not completed it as of yet, and I've not played the third one since I was a kid. But I would disagree with that in the sense that Spyro 2, with there being more supporting characters and more people to talk to and more missions to do in every world, it feels just a bit fuller. And I see where you're coming from in that Disney sense. Yeah, but also
you've got Spyro. Here's a tapestry I've made you. What? I'm a little dragon. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Here's a pickaxe. I'm a dragon. Have you seen the size of my arms? Why haven't I got a pickaxe? I don't understand what's going on. I don't know. I think a bit like old films and old games. I really like it where there's a little bit left to the imagination, where it's kind of like your brain to fill in some of the gaps. Whereas 2 seems almost a bit too, in your face for me. Probably an unpopular opinion. I usually sit in a minority in, most things. But yeah.
Well, interesting you should say that, actually, because I think that does lead a little bit into today's topic, because we're going to be talking about some of the scariest games we've ever played. And you've just said that you like things to be left to the imagination, and funnily enough, that is exactly the method that is used to provoke fear and anxiety in one of my scariest games. So we'll go over these next. I'm going to let you lead us in this one. Well, should we do 2 each? 2 each?
Let's do 2 each. I think that's fair.
2 each?
That's fair.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, lead us in. What's the first scariest game you think you've ever played?
It's got to be Rugrats on PS1. No,
that's horrifying.
What a great game, though.
Chucky, no!
What an amazing... Do you remember the mini golf mini game? Oh, brilliant. Anyway, I don't. There's one in particular that I'm thinking of, and you might have it earmarked as well. And I don't want to steal your thunder, but PT. You remember PT?
Yeah. I do. Yeah, I do.
So
I say that I remember it. I've watched. Go on.
Do you remember? So I had a house in the middle of nowhere, and you came round, and it was pitch black outside, middle of the countryside, and we were trying to play through this level, and it got to a point where it freaked both of us out that much. We're like, no, I can't do this anymore. No, I can't do this anymore. And I think the second, we had all of the, there's like a conservatory, wasn't there, just out into the countryside. And I think both of us were like, I think we need to shut the curtains.
Literally, it was. And the worst thing about it was I'd seen gameplay of it before. And it's, for those that aren't aware, PT was short for Playable Teaser, and it was a playable teaser for an upcoming Silent Hill game / reboot called Silent Hills, manned by Hideo Kojima, who directed, of course, some of the most groundbreaking games to come out of the PlayStation 1, the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 4. So he was the director of games like Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. But there was also horror icon director Guillermo del Toro assigned to it as well. And then by the end of it, Norman Reedus is assigned to it. And it was absolute madness because Silent Hill is renowned to be one of the best horror gaming franchises ever. And all of a sudden, there's huge names attached to it. As a Silent Hill fan, of course, I'd seen the gameplay. I'd watched the trailers. And I knew what was coming. And yet, I still couldn't bring myself to play the game because we hadn't even got down the first corridor, and me and you were passing the controller out. No, mate, I can't. I'm shaking. You do it.
Well, the thing is exactly as you said, though. There were so many things in that playable teaser going down the corridor, and there's things that it left your brain to work out what was happening, or like, oh, what's that hanging from the ceiling? This sort of thing. And it kind of, because then, and again, I think this is the same as very old films or TV series, etc., where they didn't necessarily have the special effects, so that it was built into the writing and left your imagination. I think that's what freaked you out. It wasn't we'll use the graphics to make something look gruesome or to make something, be horrific. It was literally in the sense that we'll build this, we'll let your brain fill in the blanks, and you can make this as weird as you want. And it captured that this is like you looking over your shoulder kind of, I don't really play horror games, and that's the reason why that game.
Yeah.
but ultimately it was incredible as well. Absolutely.
It was very photorealistic, especially for its time, because it came out in 2016 and nothing ever looks like that. And I don't think anything has looked like that since. Yeah.
And on the PS4 as well, wasn't it? I think I had that. I mean, that's crazy.
It was, yeah. It was a mad, mad time. And there was such hype behind it. And then I don't know what happened, obviously, in the background, but Hideo Kojima left Konami. Guillermo del Toro, I keep mispronouncing his name for the fans of Guillermo del Toro, I apologize. But yeah, he was no longer tied to it, and Konami just dropped Silent Hills altogether, and I was mortified. Almost as mortified as when I found out then, there were going to be no more Legacy of Kain games.
Yeah, I think I remember being kind of like a support network for you when they cancelled that.
I was, I needed some consoling.
Definitely. So, would you want to hear my second game, or do you want to go into your first game?
Well, we'll roll off that bat. So I'll give you my first game.
Go for it.
So as mentioned earlier, so Silent Hills was meant to be a reboot of a very well-known franchise called Silent Hill. It initially came out in 1999 on the PlayStation 1, and then they had 3 games come out on next-gen consoles. Then they had Silent Hill Origins. There was a couple of films. The first film was pretty good. Do not ever subject your eyes to the second film. It's one of the worst things I have ever sat through. But the rest of them are pretty good.
I'm gonna annoy you here.
Go on.
Pyramid Heads. Was that that film? Or am I getting two franchises completely mixed up?
No, you're absolutely right. So Pyramid Head was one of the monsters to come out of Silent Hill 2. And one of the great things about Pyramid Head is that he's a personification of the character's guilt and the burden he carries, because he carries this great knife that's borderline too heavy for him to pick up. And he wears this cage across his head in the shape of a pyramid that's meant to be agony for him to wear. And so Pyramid Head, as I say, is like a manifestation of the weight that the main character bears for the thing that he's done, which I won't say because that's spoilers. However, my view is a little bit controversial in that most people tend to say, Silent Hill 2 is my favourite. I would borderline disagree and say that Silent Hill 1 is actually scarier, because while Silent Hill 2 is meant to be a monster that is of the main character's own making, Silent Hill 1 is different in which that the nightmare is already there, and you're playing a character that's being pulled into someone else's nightmare. So you don't recognise anything, and the world and the characters twist and warp around you to be completely unrecognisable, apart from the fact that you knew where you were a second ago, but you're not there now. And there's a particular scene in the game where you've been through Silent Hill a couple of times, and you get the idea that it's a town that's covered in fog that changes into this nightmarish darkness that's almost like oblivion, and there's a corrugated gate underneath your feet and nothing else beneath you, and there are monsters coming from your left, right, and center. Sorry, but the main goal remains the same, in that your daughter is out here in this town somewhere, and you need to find her. And at one point, you go through this huge building, which looks like what used to be, or what should be, rather, like a mall, a shopping mall. And your character, Harry Mason, runs up to this escalator that is not moving, and there is a stack of TVs that are turned off, and they're seemingly not plugged into anything. Nothing works. There's no electricity in this place. There's just darkness. But suddenly the TVs all begin to flash in unison, and you look over at these TVs, and you can see seemingly your daughter in agonizing pain through the static. But then the TVs begin to show these horrific images and symbols, and you're kind of left to watch it going, what the hell is that? And it freaks me out every time I see it, because there is no explanation to what's happening at all. You don't know where these images are coming from. You don't know where your daughter is. You're in this nightmarish landscape, with things all around you, and you're left in the dark with these images going, right, there you are. And you go, why have you shown me this? What am I supposed to do with that? What is happening and what are you doing to me? And
if that's not a reason for the digital switchover and to get rid of
it's
have that as their advert. Yeah. Disconnect that copper line. Get rid of that phone. Get rid of that TV. Yeah.
But it's exactly what you touched on earlier. Silent Hill is a series where funny enough, I've just rested my water bottle on my Silent Hill coaster that's on my desk. Haha. It's a series where it does leave you to your imagination. It shows you something, and then it leaves you in an empty room, and it doesn't show you anything else, because whatever you come up with in your head is far worse than anything anyone can show you. And that's the beauty of that kind of horror. It's not gory. It's just a case of, yeah, I'll let you to your imagination. You have fun with that, and it's terrifying. It's brilliant.
You did just, what's the placemat? The coaster, that's the word. You did just coaster shame me, because you're there with your Silent Hill coaster, and I've got a Nuki Zoo with meerkats on it. So
that's Doncaster Gaming Market that we were at recently. We picked up some more, so I feel like I'm collecting gaming coasters now. I've got a Silent Hill on my desk in front of me, a remake Silent Hill 2 downstairs on the coffee table, and Nadia has an Uncharted 4 coaster.
Oh, that's cool.
Because she's not much of a gamer, but she loves Uncharted. And yeah, so I had to pick her that up, because I was like, I'm not leaving without getting her something as well. She deserves it.
You see,
Silent Hill. Oh, go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, the Silent Hill franchise is something I've never really delved into. It's never really, I think it's because it's a horror franchise. It's not something I sort of willingly walk straight into. But yeah, it's inspiring hearing you talk about it. It makes me kind of want to find out more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's definitely an experience, but especially with some of the games, it's not one with a happy ending. And that's kind of the beauty of it. It's one of those games where it knows you're not meant to feel good by the end of it. Yeah, you've completed the story, but what is the story? The story is in itself is a piece of art. It's not a, hey, you completed it, well done, ba-ba-ba, fanfare, etc.
Do you know what would be funny?
Mm-hmm.
Halfway through, if you just did, no.
That would be...
Or maybe that'd be creepy. Who knows? Down a corridor.
Oh, can you imagine that?
No.
Just imagine, right? So you're in a long corridor, and there's nothing in front of you that you can see. The flashlight on your jacket is flickering, and you don't know what's around you. And all of a sudden, in the distance, you can just see two pair of like pale eyes just open, and you can just and then just runs straight towards you.
Yeah,
screaming, bloody egg in hand, and you go, ah! That'd be...
Well, let's lead into my number 2 then.
I have, if I may,
Scariest Game.
I have an idea of what your number 2 might be, and I'm going to be so happy if I get this right, but I'm going to let you go ahead.
Oh, if you do, then this is... Yeah, right. It's not a horror game. Does that check with what you were saying?
It does not. It does not tie in with what I thought you were going to say.
I'm going to say, and this is ridiculous because maybe it doesn't fall under Scariest Games, but the part of it, what gave me the fear, Half-Life 2 Ravenholm.
Oh my god, yes.
And here's the reason why. A little backstory. So I initially grew up around Stockport. Okay, and in Stockport you had the air raid shelters, which they turned kind of into a museum. And we had some family ties with some of the volunteers there. And I remember we'd go down on one of the tours, and you reach a certain point, and there's just a metal fence, and the lights just disappear. You get to a certain point, you're looking past this metal fence, and the light just disappears, and it's just darkness, and it just goes on, and it's so eerie. Now, I grew up. Half-Life is very much my childhood. I grew up watching my dad play Half-Life 1. And then when I was probably age 4 or 5, I remember trying to complete the training level in Half-Life 1, and that scared me so much. I remember running down the stairs back to my bedroom, but just, tried playing it on my own, got too scared, ran away, So in Half-Life 2, obviously playing through most of the game, not a bit scary at all. It's Half-Life, it's just brilliant. There's a physics model. It was such a, one-of-a-kind game for its time. And you get to Ravenholm, and again, the bit that gets me is when Alex, and also this dog, and you look through a fence, and there's all of the shutters and everything down, and they just say, "Oh, that's Ravenholm. We don't go there anymore." And it's like, and then of course when they all get attacked, you then get forced to take the road through Ravenholm, and I just, that just freaked me out. I remember getting so scared trying to play it with headphones on. I think it was the summer holidays when I was at school, 6 weeks, whatever. I remember just putting, I think it was Metallica, just play Metallica really loud and getting the crowbar out, or Slipknot or something. And I was like, right, it's not scary if I play that. And suddenly it went from this like terrifying experience I could barely play to just the most awesome, from Whom the Bells Toll, running around with the crowbar, smacking all of the zombies. It suddenly just completely turned it on its head, and it was an incredible experience. I would say that would be, for me personally, one of the scariest experiences, the whole Ravenholm, again, which is the lore all around it. Have you played it? Have you played through that part?
Absolutely, yeah. I've completed Half-Life 2 a bunch of times, and I 100% agree that Ravenholm is absolutely terrifying. However, I feel like, given this information, I'm going to have to play it again, and the next time I step into Ravenholm, I'm just going to right, turn that up. Try it. Right, yes! Yeah, I'm going to absolutely do that, because that sounds like the most fun level ever. I just walk in with your crowbar, your anti-gravity gun, and be like, bring it.
Honestly, yeah, and you get into this like vibe as well. So you start to realise, can't remember if it has a difficulty level, but you start to realise with the crowbar you can like one tap the zombie, then jump backwards, and then run in and tap it again. And if you get it almost turned into like a rhythm game before rhythm games are a thing, or at least widely known. Just honestly, give it a go. Give it a go. Come back to me. It's just incredible. I think I did have an honourable mention, but it's slipped my mind. I'm curious, what game did you think I was going to pick? Because I thought we were on the same path there.
Right, I've got the funniest story. Me and Elliot have a lot of these, you'll find. So, do you remember...
if you say Gary's Mod.
I can't remember
if you say Gary's Mod, because that's the thing.
No. It's, I think we were playing Call of Duty... What's that big, massive multiplayer online one called now?
Not Warzone.
Yeah, it was Warzone. I think we were playing that with a friend of ours. And we all came off it, but you and our friend, Jack, wanted to carry on playing something. And I think one of you suggested, is it Phasmagoria? Is it called?
Phasmophobia.
Phasmophobia, that was it.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand the concept of the game, so you two were going through it, talking to me about, right, here's what we can do, here's what we can't do. We've got to go into this house, we're going to find this ghost, we're given some information, we know his name, we need to basically hunt this thing. But if we say its name, then it angers it, and it'll start chasing us down. And I think it got to a point where the both of you had just your flashlights and you were going down into a cellar, and Jack went first. And you waited by the doorway, screamed its name down your mic, shut the door, and ran off, howling with laughter. And I just remember Jack absolutely panicking down the mic. Elliot, what are you doing? Elliot!
It's proximity based as well, so as I was running away, he got quieter. But I think it's like Sandra Wilson. And then if you anger it, it then shuts the door. So it's like if you anger it into that sort of state of panic, it locks you inside. So I think I screamed it, ran up from the cellar, ran outside the house, and all the doors shut. So you just heard Jack. You just heard him just going, "What are you doing? No, don't do that." Yeah, and that was so funny. I remember. I think we found it funnier than he did at the time.
Oh yeah, and me obviously not playing the game at all. I'm just bearing witness to what I can only describe as glorious.
Yeah, it tickled me. So what's your second? What's your second game?
My second, it's difficult to choose, to be honest, because I've got a lot of games that I play or have played that have been very scary. There's Dino Crisis for the PlayStation 1, which was not so much scary as it is panic-inducing, because you're fighting dinosaurs in this research facility, but the only thing that you're armed with is a tranquilizer dart, not necessarily a gun. You don't find that till much later on, and even then when you do, your ammo is limited. So it's if you tranquilize a dinosaur, then go into the next room, find it's a dead end, and you're out of tranquilizer darts, you realise, oh, you've got to go back there, and he's waiting for you. He's not going to stay asleep for long. I've never completed that game. I completed Dance Crisis 2, which was much easier and less panic-inducing because there's ammo galore. The more you kill, the more you can buy. That's great. But Dino Crisis 2 was hella scary just because you knew you were limited to what you could do, and the game was difficult, really, really difficult. So I think that's probably my honourable mention. I know there's fans, including myself, absolutely dying for a Dino Crisis remake. For me, it's probably a bit of a toss-up between Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 7. Because...
Which was 7?
7... Well, 7 is... I think the reason why Silent Hills probably happened in the first place, because 7 was the very first one in a long time that was first-person based. You were this character, I think his name was Ethan Hunt.
Village.
No, Village was the sequel to 7. So Village was 8. But it's along the same line. So you're in this abandoned house, and the family, you seemingly can't kill them, but you're trying to escape, and your ex-girlfriend or your wife or something like that is in that house there as well, but she keeps turning and attacking you. And that was also a very panic-inducing game, and the environment and the atmosphere was very, very heavy as well. That was a great game. But I didn't play too much of it. I did manage to complete one scenario in Resident Evil 2. And that, again, is panic-inducing in the sense that you're left in this huge place with seemingly unkillable monsters and not a lot of ammo. Which is why I think I would probably say it's a bit more panic-inducing than the game like Silent Hill, because Silent Hill is very scary, don't get me wrong, but there seems to be an abundance of weapons. Whereas in Resident Evil 2, the remake especially, if you're out of ammo, you're out of luck. It's run, and there's certain things that you can't run from. Like there's a big bad guy called Mr. X. He's like a bioweapon, and you cannot kill him. He will keep getting up and he will keep walking around, and you can hear him, and he'll follow you through borderline the entire map. I think there's maybe 2 rooms that you won't go into, but there's one point in the game where you just got to keep running. Despite the fact that you've got stuff to do, he will follow you through every room, unless you can find like a glitch. I think he gets stuck in some places maybe, or you shoot him a bunch of times to the point where he might fall down and faint, and then you're safe for a little bit until you go into the next room, and then he just gets back up and keeps going. So yeah, that's I remember that being pretty terrifying. And there was an episode on our channel actually where I got my girlfriend at the time, now my fiance Nadia, to react to Resident Evil 2. She got as far as the first boss, and she did really well. But yeah, that was a really terrifying game. If I may, another honourable mention for sheer panic-inducing games is Alien Isolation.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Not a very terrifying atmosphere until the alien shows up, and the way that AI works on that is beautifully done. Because I think the alien always knows where you are, but then the computer takes away just enough of that information that it keeps trying to find you, or something like that. Very, very brilliantly done. Really, really good.
Well, I think what we should do is go to the Winchester, have a pint, and wait for all this to blow over.
How's that for a slice of fried gold?
That, if you're happy to, takes us into, we've gone from this week's topic. Should we go into this week's news and controversies?
Yep, sail us away. What we got this week?
So 2 things I think we will talk about is, one, I think these will probably be fairly short and sweet, is firstly the RAM shortage that we've got going on at the moment.
I know nothing about this.
So basically what I think it is a lot of consumer RAM is basically kind of nigh on impossible to get, because data centers are essentially just acquiring every bit of RAM that they possibly can to fuel the AI machine, as it were. To the point where even companies like, have you heard of Crucial Memory?
I can't say it rings a bell, no.
I think in one of your builds you had Crucial RAM. They've completely ceased operation because it's so much more profitable for them just to basically fuel the big data centers with memory. So prices have gone absolutely crazy. So the shortages, prices have gone up. Just looking at this here, so in Taiwan, the Centre of Global Hardware Manufacturing, DDR4 kits with a capacity of 256 gig have now reached prices above $3,000, costing more than some high-end PC builds. So in some instances...
That's insane.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's at a point where buying consumer RAM is... yeah. And we don't know what's going to happen, because of course it's the AI bubble, isn't it? It's what is actually going to happen. But yeah, so basically your SSDs and RAM prices are going up through the roof. So if you see anything, if you do see any of the offers where it is cheap, it's kind of been advised to buy now. Lots of the videos out there on it, lots of more information, but interesting thing that's happening. And I think following that is the release, or announcement, should I say, of the Steam Machine, which is really interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, I'm a huge Linux fan, always been a huge Linux fan. And SteamOS is just incredible for what it's achieved in its time. So bringing a Steam Machine, so a console, PC console on SteamOS that you can connect to your TV, etc., with all of the features they're talking about, it's absolutely fantastic. Really good performance as well, suggested from the actual the hardware specs that have been released. The big question on everyone's mind, given of course what we just spoke about with RAM shortages, SSD price increases, is how expensive is it going to be, which is kind of a thing on everyone's mind, because I think everyone was assuming it'd be around sort of, in the UK, around the sort of £400-500 mark, you know, sort of around what our current gen consoles are, your PS5s, your Xbox Series X's. But yeah, Linus Tech Tips has done a video about this, followed by one by Austin Evans, and it seems to be, I think, kind of the general consensus is it could sit around £700. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
I was kind of intrigued. I was a bit excited when I heard about this Steam Machine. I'm a bit confused as to whether or not it is supposed to be a games console or some form of dedicated desktop. Because as you say, it's running its own operating system that can run applications other than games, right?
Yeah, so it's the same thing that's on the Steam Deck. Exactly the same thing. So you've got your whole games library, so Steam Big Picture Mode, which now works really well. You press one button and suddenly Linux will fire up the desktop experience, and yeah, you're in Linux. You're in a Linux desktop environment.
So I do like the idea that you can have something that's as open source as Linux, but it's dedicated to gaming. So it's right, okay, yeah, I'll plunk all my library into the Steam Machine and I can play on a big screen, same as a console. Great, but then, as you say, if the price is going to be more than £500-600 for something that's similar to a games console experience, the game console itself is cheaper, and anyone that's not going to use Linux and is going to use it primarily just for gaming, then of course they're going to save money by getting the games console. Probably even more so in what, maybe 2 years' time, when the next generations of PlayStation, well, just PlayStation at this rate, gets announced.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because games ultimately on Steam, and by, you know, acquisition of other keys and things, generally the games will always be cheaper on Steam. The general thing that I say to a lot of people, if I ever get asked, because I try not to, you know, sort of push my opinion about the console or PC or any of that, is if I get asked about it, is it all depends what you want to play. You know, because if someone says, oh, I just play indie games, well then, you know, if it runs on a Steam Deck, you know, you can connect that to a monitor or to a TV. It's very much dependent on what you're going to play. You know, so if you're, all I play is COD and I just want COD, you know, okay, well, what's your budget? Are you bothered about graphics? Are you bothered about FPS? Because, you know, if you're playing on a TV that's got a horrific response rate, ours isn't great, for example, investing in all the hardware that'll do, you know, 200 frames, kind of wasted on you. So it's one of those, I think it's subjective, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think if you've got a Steam Deck and you're heavily invested in that sort of Steam OS and environment, then I think actually it's quite interesting. You say you don't have a gaming PC, but you've got a Steam Deck. It could be the next step. For me personally, I've kind of dipped a bit more towards the kind of the Xbox, the Microsoft, which again, I'm in a minority there. In Nintendo also, but I'm waiting for them to release some new games. So it's something that I'm very intrigued. I mean, they're also doing the Steam Frame VR, which is a whole nother conversation. That also intrigues me. But yeah, it's kind of, I want to see what happens with it. If I was to do anything, it'd be in the sort of the second or third batch. I don't think I'd buy something and release because it's not, you know, that desirable for me, given what I've recently purchased. But yeah, certainly interesting.
It's one to keep an eye out for, and who knows, maybe they'll surprise us greatly with the prices on it. I'm fully expecting a price probably somewhere around 750, 800 quid. But if they turn around and said 450, I'll be like, you know what, fair play. Especially with, as you say, the RAM shortage that's going on at the moment. If they've taken all that into account and said, no, you know what, we're going to sell a lot if we try and we're going to sell more if we keep the prices low.
However, yeah, I mean,
who knows? Yeah.
What was an interesting point is someone was saying if they make it too low, you'll get like offices trying to buy them and have them as sort of domain connected PCs, which would be quite difficult, to be honest. Considering I work in that environment, it could be done, but there'd be quite a few hoops. But I think what they're going to do is a bit like the Steam Deck. So you had to have a Steam account. I think it was something like for at least 6 months or something, and you could only buy one. So I think they'll limit it. So you've got to log in with your Steam account. The account has to be X amount of days or months old, and you can only purchase one. So I think they'll probably do that to control, the whole scalpers and that sort of environment.
Can you imagine if at some point in the future you applied for a brand new IT job and one of the requirements was that you had to have a Steam account that's at least 6 months old?
Well, I inherited my dad, so yeah, I think mine's like when Steam was like an add-on, I think, for I was going to say the Orange Box, but no, I think we bought Half-Life 2 separately, and then Counter-Strike Source separately on a DVD case. I remember walking down into town and going into Game and buying it. They were the days. Before we dip into anything else, I was thinking it might be worth to just do a quick shout out to JB, who is listening
absolutely
to the podcast. So he's a chap there's another podcast, I've recommended it, so it'll come up in all of our Spotify or RSS connected feeds. So it's the Nintendo Switch UK podcast. Amazing bunch of guys over there, the nicest community ever, I think, that you could probably find, and that's where me and JB started to get chatting. And it's quite interesting because basically he was saying he's a bit like yourself, Dorian, so he's got a camera. But he still uses an iPod, modded 5th gen classic.
Very nice.
And he's not interested in doing anything on his phone, everything on his phone, a bit like yourself.
Yeah.
So I asked a bit more, and it looks incredible. So he's upgraded the drive to a flash store card, so it went from 32 gig to 256 gig. Not bothered about adding Bluetooth because this 5th gen's got the best DAC for audio quality. No soldering or anything. It just, honestly, it really inspired me. I was suddenly like, I wonder about a Zen. Do you remember the Zen 3s, the creative Zen 3s that they did? I don't know if you ever saw those.
I've not heard that in a long time. I can't picture what it looks like in my head, but I know that name. Because there was that period where there were loads of other companies trying to catch up with iPod, because Sony were doing their MP3 Walkmans, and they came in all kinds of weird, wonderful designs, and still do. Obviously, iPod were doing their thing. What was the other one that was called? There was this main competitor to Apple Music, but I can't remember their name. Was it Zune? Or something daft like that.
Zune was Microsoft product, I think. Because I remember I had Windows XP and had the Zune theme, so it was a black taskbar with a bright orange start button, and it was the nicest, cleanest theme that you could get. Yeah,
you didn't say that I inspired JB to buy something.
Yeah. So Dorian got me looking at modded GBAs. Very nearly bought one, but it wasn't as advertised. However, I've now made a GBA-shaped purchase. So he's bought an Anbernic RG34XX. So essentially looks like the Game Boy Advance, bit wider, really nice screen. So yeah, he also, just to point out, did give me some abuse for, burning my fingers on a soldering iron, but we can skirt over that.
I'm not going to lie, I have been looking at those Anbernics myself, and they're nice and everything, but I have a modded PS Vita that kind of does all of that on a nice OLED screen, so I still want one, because it's just that classic Game Boy shape in your hands. It's just so nice. But if my PS Vita already does, I've had my PS Vita for I think 15 years now. It's still going strong. I'm never going to kill it. I think I'm currently trying to play Metroid Fusion on it, but I'm stuck on the Nightmare boss, and I keep throwing it across the room, and it still works. It's taking a beating. So yeah, no, I'm to be fair, all of the feedback that we've had on last week's episode has been wonderful. I'm really happy to hear that people are listening, that people are enjoying it. One guy, one of my colleagues, I shared the podcast with him, and he said that we had excellent delivery, and I thought, ooh, damn, I like that comment. That's a good compliment. Excellent delivery. So I'm going to keep this up.
So that's a lovely way of saying you two
nice
talk
to see
a lot
people.
of rubbish. That's a lovely way of saying that.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, we do waffle just a little bit. Just a little bit.
We should have mentioned we're going to try to keep these to 40 minutes. It's currently 46 minutes.
Yeah, we're a little overboard already. So on that note, I think we're going to leave you folks there. But if you have returns to come and listen to us, thank you very much for returning. We really appreciate it. Please leave your comments everywhere of what you've enjoyed about it, and give us some feedback if there's anything you haven't enjoyed. Give us some topics to discuss next week, maybe. With Christmas coming up, we are going to talk a little bit about Christmas games. I think not too many of them knocking about, but enough for us to have a bit of a waffle about them.
I've already got one in mind, honestly, and I'm going to tease you with it so you can think about this, because you've got a week to think about what it might be.
Oh, all right.
It's on PlayStation 1. It was in a lot of demos, and it's not a Christmas themed game, but there was a Christmas themed level, and the voice acting is next level. I'm going to leave that with you. There are all of your clues. If you can guess that next week,
yes,
I think I've got
an idea. Oh, wow. All right. Game on then.
Oh, really?
I agree with that.
Okay. he was already invested. Why did I do that?
See, you've pretty promised it now. Thanks for joining us again, folks. We will catch you in the next episode next week. See you later.
See you later, guys. Cheers.